Before the first person comes up to the stage, I would like to briefly explain about the rules which apply for the finalists. Speech length, 8 to 10 minutes. The speeches that are too long or too short will be penalized. You are allowed notes. The finalists may use notes, but not read from a prepared text. And once you've performed your speech, the finalists will be questioned by the judges on the content of their speech. Answers will be taken into consideration as part of their evaluation. The judges will then evaluate the speech according to the following 4 categories: speaking skills, content, presentation skills, and answering questions. Now, moment we've been waiting for. I was going to click, but then it's not poetry. Now, let us welcome our first finalist of the day, Winnie Phillips, who's come from Leighton today. Winnie Phillips.
I'm also small. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Hi, I'm Winnie, and my speech today is Lost Generations, First Generation Millennials. Thank you for being here today. Leaving home for a new home can be a very scary moment for anyone, no matter what age. Change is something we all fear, whether it be good or bad. We always seem to pull through, and no matter how long it takes, we tend to adapt as we have as humans. We have done it now for millions of years. As young children, our parents move us due to circumstances beyond their control, or otherwise pursuing different lives in different places. It would be a great venture for the family or a frightening one, and coming to terms with these changes can affect us later as adults. We see a lot of children being displaced due to war, economic crisis, environmental chaos, crime, drugs, and alcohol abuse, and many other reasons not being able to comprehend these changes in their lives. As a child, I moved from a third world country, or an undeveloped country, to a first world country. It seemed to be such a small transition as a small child, getting on a plane and coming to a cold December in London. I remember the process of going to visa interviews and having to practice with my family. Questions that were very simple that still had to be practiced. Looking back at the process, it was very long and tiring for my family, and having tried once before to come to the UK. My dreams were filled with being with my mother in a better life, in a better country, a new place to call home. I never thought how different life would be from where I was born and where I would grow up as an adult. I know those around me, my friends and family had great expectations coming to the UK. My brother and I were always there for each other, and people thought we were twins. Can I have my water? I'm just going to grab my water. Sorry. Excuse me. We were dressed the same as baby. But as we got older, the girls became what girls wear and boys what boys wore. I would be so frustrated. I wanted to do things my brother did. Getting dirty, being more like a boy. I remember him going away for Christmas with family members, but I couldn't go because I was a girl. And my question was always why. I wanted to do what he was doing. This was a sad moment for me as it was Christmas. Sorry. Sorry. Thank you. It was always around Christmas time, and I was so upset remembering the heat during the holidays. When me and my brother were young, I would see him do things which I couldn't do because I was a girl. Girls don't play with boys, otherwise you would get pregnant. You see, you don't want this to happen. You can't have babies when you're young. It happens and it's the worst thing imaginable. I looked forward to the days I would be with my mother in London, where there would be no restrictions and I could do what I wanted. But to be honest, it was still similar. She explained to me, as a girl or a woman, we studied and we get jobs. You don't think about anything else but this. Even though I had moved to a new place and a new home, everything was the same. The rules and culture still applied. I stayed at home because girls can't go outside gallivanting, looking for boys. I didn't really want to do this. I just wanted to go with my friends, go to McDonald's, buy a McFlurry, although all my friends just wanted to talk about boys. Although we moved from Africa, we still lived in an African household. We followed the rules. Unless you leave, get your own house, and you can live under your own rules, which would be impossible if you were 12 or 13. I used to think of how lucky some girls at my schools were, as they didn't live in an African household, following African rules. Their mums were so cool, and mine was boring and strict. The culture clash was immense, outside of the house, at school, and my friend's house, and at the park. I felt like I lived 3 different lives, having 3 different personas. I would change my behavior just to get out of trouble. I do come across as a quiet and shy person, but I get comfortable and I would relax and give off a different energy. This kind of living has impacted me during different stages of my life. At times I would miss out on things I wanted to do, as I would be too vigilant and always think bad of a scenario. I'd be too scared to ask questions without being met with hostilities and more questions. I feel it's also given me a negative judge on characters, at times not knowing when to get close to people. If I had questions, I wouldn't go to anyone close to me. The internet was the place to go, or to my school friends. I acted out in subtle ways, not being noticed. I would find ways to be vague in what I did. I rehearsed my questions at times to my mother. I would tell the truth, and it would be more suspicious, where my brother literally lied his way out. Although I do love having 2 homes where I can go, know I can see people I love, and speak 2 different languages fluently, I always forget that I have lived here longer than my other home, and change is always inevitable and will always be scary and can happen so quickly. I've met people from all walks of life, and everyone always asks me, do you feel more Kenyan or British? They always say I'm lost in my identity. I don't know where I come from because I'm confused. I'm not like other African girls, but I'm sorry I didn't get a memo on how to act like other African girls. I know who I am, I know where I'm from and where I am. There are some changes that will take a while to come for girls. I still think girls from ethnic backgrounds struggle with culture differences at home and in society. If they are being themselves, they're acting out, and it's because they've been brought up here in the UK. It seems as if nature is nurturing girls to misbehave by finding different identities to those back home. Nature and nurture going hand in hand. We try to enforce core values, just don't sit well, and it can upset people and make them not want to associate with their culture. Identity is more than just a passport or a driving license. As we find new cultures, we find more about ourselves. We always have to work hard to show others who we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Winnie. My name's Mitty.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, well done. You were very brave.
Thank you.
I just want to question if you could elaborate a little bit more on how you feel about your identity at this stage.
I'm proud Kenyan, but I still need to get my Kenyan passport. And also, I'm a proud British person, and I represent both cultures wherever I go. Yeah.
If we have time, can we ask? Yeah, go on.
Thank you, Winnie. I have a question, which is, what would you advise other girls to do who are in a similar situation than the one you found yourself in?
Sometimes, like I said, you can learn from others through your own, from about your cultures. Because I've been to Japan and they have names that have different meanings in my country, or they have food that they do, which is also the same. So just learn about others, and then you'll learn more about yourself.
Just I wanted to ask, as you come to terms with, your roots and your experience here, do you find a way to draw also things of value from your origins that can, be good for your life here as well? And if so, what sort of things?
Even though my mum was strict, I think it was kind of good for me in some ways. Learning just to be vigilant, I think, as well, that kind of skill. And just learning to be open as well sometimes. Thank you.